So it's actually a simple question, but the answer is a lot more complicated as to how much sun exactly we need to make the vitamin D our body needs. And it depends on lots of things. For example, different times of the year, you need more or less vitamin D. Different times of the day, you would need more or less to get the right vitamin D. Depending on how much of your skin is uncovered or covered, you need different vitamin D, and also depending on your skin type. So the more melanin you have, generally the more sun you need to get the same amount of vitamin D. And depending on what studies you look at, you see different answers to that same question. But for example, if you're on the beach in Miami in the middle of the day, you only need about 3 minutes if you're in your bathing suit. But if you're way up north and it's in the winter and you're all covered up and bundled up, it could be more than a couple of hours. But for us where we live, generally speaking, 15 minutes sometime in the middle of the day, just your hands, arms, face, and neck is probably right about enough to be able to get enough vitamin D. But even then, it's important to note that, well, one, tanning beds are never the answer to get the vitamin D that you need. The risk that develops that gives you for skin cancer is too high. One fact that a lot of people don't know, that there are more people that will get skin cancer from tanning beds than there will who get lung cancer from smoking in the United States this year. And so those types of things people don't quite realize or recognize or appreciate as much as we do in dermatology. And as a skin cancer surgeon, somebody who just treats 10 plus skin cancers every single day, I definitely am a little bit biased as to the answer to this question. But you can generally get enough vitamin D between diet and supplements. It's hard to get it in the diet. In America, we have a lot of foods that are fortified with it, different yogurts, cereals, milk, dairy products, that sort of thing. Otherwise, unless you're eating a lot of liver and mackerel, it might be a little bit more challenging to get enough vitamin D just from your diet. A little bit of sun exposure obviously can help make some vitamin D, but for any time where you're going to have prolonged sun exposure, you're going to be at the beach, it's better to wear at least an SPF 30 cover up. You don't need as much sun exposure to get the vitamin D that you need. Another question people have a lot is vitamin D important? It's kind of popular to hear about, and the answer to that is yes, it is important. It's especially important for our bone health, for how we metabolize calcium as well as phosphorus. And I caution, I don't want anyone to get overly worried and think they need to go get their vitamin D checked, but it's also, there's studies that show that low vitamin D has been associated with problems either with cardiovascular health or cancers or rheumatologic diseases. But it's important to note that just because there's some association, that doesn't mean causation. And so it's not to say that that's what's causing those problems. But alas, it is definitely important for your body to have vitamin D. Another thing about vitamin D that a lot of people may not know is that it's considered one of the fat-soluble vitamins. So vitamin A, D, E, and K are all fat-soluble vitamins. What does that mean? It means that it can be stored in your fat. So just because you didn't take a supplement, or you didn't take vitamin D rich foods one day, or because you weren't outside all day, you say, well, am I deficient? No, generally speaking, your body can store vitamin D in its fat cells. And so it's really, you got to think about the long game. So, but between a healthy diet, proper supplement for the folks that are going to be vitamin D deficient, and that short amount of sun exposure is enough to keep your vitamin D stores up, especially utilizing those stores in the fat cells.